I got to ask you one of the harder questions. So the report came out. I know you've seen the ESPN report from Coach saying that you all have been talking to John and maybe about him coming back into the lineup. Any truth to that?
I mean, yeah, Rafael and John spoke, and you know, as far as I know, John is wanting to come back, and there's going to be discussions around that, and we'll see. I'm kind of like, I just found out this afternoon, so I don't really have too much information for you, but as far as I know, they've spoken, and we'll kind of see what happens.
Won't be any different though, because John has been around the organization since, training camp and things like that. And so he's always been an integral part, correct?
Yeah, I mean, he's been around, he's been at practices, he's been on the plane, he's been at games, he's been around the group. It would just be, that big difference of him actually playing in the games, which is, again, there's going to be many more conversations around what that looks like and how it works.
Has he signaled to you that he wants to play?
I mean, being around John and him working out all the time and him being around the team and him being the competitor that he is and John just being John, of course, that like he's itching, but as far as like a conversation between he and I, as far as him wanting to come back at all, no.
What does he add to your team on the court?
I mean, he adds point guard play, he adds know-how, and a veteran guy who can help possibly.
Does he look like he's at these practices? Does he look ready to step in and play?
Well, he hasn't really been in the practices as far as scrimmaging and all of that, so I don't really know. I've seen him do drills and stuff, but I haven't seen him actually play.
How long do you think he would need in order to get up to speed?
I really don't know.
So if you look at this matchup tonight between these two teams.
Thank you, Katie.
Two of the two highest pace play between these two. Last night, the Hornets 26 fast break points. How do you play in the pace you want to play while also not allowing them to get comfortable in the fast pace that they like to play?
Yeah, we have to be super attentive. We have to make sure that even on makes, they are running like crazy and they're getting the ball out quickly. And so we have to just make sure that we are doing everything we can to get back while also staying on the offensive glass, because they do play smaller, and without Plumlee, they'll play super small. So taking advantage of our size on the rebounding part will in turn hopefully force them to like stay in and box out a little bit more, so it's harder for them to run, and we'll get a few more offensive possessions. But like, that's the game plan, is to get back and get our defense set after makes and misses. And of course, the biggest thing for us will be the turnovers, and we got to make sure that we limit those.
Was it hard to make the decision on who was going to start in place of Jalen?
A little bit. I thought about it. It wasn't the easy, just this is who it's going to be. But yeah, we got guys.
That's something we have to wait.
Of course.
How much of that is about the guy starting and how he fits with that group, as opposed to the impact that has on the reserves and the combinations there?
Yeah, it's both. It's how that person fits in with the group that's starting the games, and whether we're going big or small, that kind of fits into the whole thought process as well. And then making sure that we have the depth that we need coming off the bench, and making sure that that's a group that plays well together. I think you see with DJ and Alpi and Eric starting, but then coming with that group, we have a pretty solid second unit group. So fitting in those next two guys, and then making sure that the starters are complete.
So you went with Garrison to start the second half the other night. Is there someone that you want to kind of pair him with, where he's on the floor at roughly the same times as DJ,
Not really. He just the main thing for him is being out there to create space for whoever's on the court. So whether that's Scoot and Seawood, where Seawood's rolling hard and pick and roll, and we have a shooter out there with him, or Armoni or whoever else. It's really just based on his ability to space the floor.
When Kevin Porter Jr. was out previously, we saw Jalen Green step into a bit more of like a playmaker role a little bit. Does the approach change at all with the inverse happening now with Jalen out and KPJ being in the lineup?
It could, yeah. I mean, he will without that extra playmaker. I mean, we'll have Eric out there with him. So he will have someone who can make plays, but for Scoot, it'll definitely be more of like a trying to get downhill a little bit more, trying to use drags to get the ball into the paint, and less of where's Jalen, and trying to help Jalen play well. And that was something that Scoot was very intentional about. And now he can think a little bit more about how can he get himself involved.
You said that you wanted to use your.
Coach, now that the losing streak is over, what are some of the lessons that you guys were able to take from that in order to help, save the rest of this season?
Yeah, I mean, we learned a lot. We learned a lot about our character as a group. We learned a lot about dealing with frustration and everything that comes with a long losing streak. But we also came together more as a group. We dealt with it and got beyond it. And now it's time to kind of apply those lessons. There's one thing to learn a lesson, but if you don't apply it, then you kind of fall right back into the same thing. So it's going to be up to us to apply the things that worked for us in the Chicago game moving forward, and all of the lessons that we learned in some of the close losses, and the things that we need to do in the fourth quarter, and the execution that we need, and the communication that we need as a group. So many things you learn in an NBA season, and we just happen to learn them in that stretch, and we need to do better.
You said that you wanted to use your size advantage tonight for this matchup. Does that mean Tyson would start?
No, that doesn't mean that.
Doesn't mean you're starting small.
That doesn't mean that either. I just don't want to reveal my starters. I don't know why it's such a big deal.